Alright guys, how's it going, and welcome back to another video on the channel. So I'm not gonna lie to you, August can be a pretty uneventful month as a hockey fan. Very rarely do we actually get anything notable that's worth talking about on the channel. So, it can be pretty hard to make videos sometimes, but if there is one plus side to this, it does allow us to make more creative videos like this one today. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Montreal Canadiens prospects, and I'm going to be counting down for you guys who I feel the top 10 current best prospects are in the system. Whether or not you agree or disagree with my list, be sure to let me know what you would change or keep the same about this ranking here. And for question of the day, which team do you feel has the best current prospect pool in the NHL? Whichever team gets the most votes, I will do a video on that team ranking who I feel their top 10 best prospects are the next time we do one of these videos. Also, guys, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new around here, and I don't think I have anything else to say, so without further ado, let's actually get right into this top 10 ranking here, starting off with number 10. Quickly though, just two honorable mentions before we get started. These are two guys that just barely missed out on the list. They're Logan Mailloux and Matthias Norlinder, two really solid players, but as I said, I just couldn't find the space for them on an abbreviated top 10 list. On a ton of other NHL teams, I'm sure these guys are cracking the top 10, but the Montreal Canadiens prospect pool is just so deep, so I just couldn't find the space for them. But with that being said, it's finally time to reveal the top 10, starting it off with Owen Beck of the Mississauga Steelheads. This guy is a really good player. He was drafted 33rd overall by the Montreal Canadiens. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds, shoots right, and honestly, man, with the Steelheads this year in the OHL, he put up 51 points, 21 goals, and 30 assists in 68 games played. That's some pretty decent numbers right there. And honestly, Owen Beck, heading into the draft, was pretty underrated, maybe even a little bit overlooked. But after he got drafted, a lot more people started looking into him, and some scouts who ranked him low started to reconsider their decision and put him in the mid to late first round. So this guy, in my eyes, is a huge steal for the Habs, and they should be very happy to have him as part of their development team. Now at number 9, we have Jan Mysak, and this guy is another second-round pick by the Montreal Canadiens. He was drafted 48th overall. He's 20 years old, 181 pounds, 6 foot. Overall, just a really solid player. He's going to be playing with the Laval Rocket in the AHL next season. With the Czechia U20 team in the World Junior Championships, he put up 5 points in 4 games played, 2 goals, 3 assists. With the Hamilton Bulldogs in the OHL, he put up 64 points in 61 games played. That's a bit better than Owen Beck did. He got 34 goals and 30 assists, and in the playoffs, he got 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points in 17 games played. Truthfully, I have nothing bad to say about Jan Mysak, and I do expect him to get some minutes up in the Habs roster next season when he gets brought up from Laval, and it should be really interesting to see how he translates his game in that aspect. Moving on to the number 8 pick, I have chosen Justin Barron, the former first-round pick, selected 25th overall by the Colorado Avalanche in the 2020 NHL entry draft, and he was just traded this past season to the Montreal Canadiens in the Arturi Lehkonen deal. This guy is a powerful forward. He's 6'2", 194 pounds. He shoots right. On the Colorado Eagles, he got 20 points in 43 games this past season in the AHL, 5 goals, 15 assists. And with the Montreal Canadiens, he got 2 points in 5 games, 1 goal, and 1 assist. Next year, he should be a regular on the Canadiens, and if not, he'll go to Laval. But honestly, I think this guy deserves a chance. I think he's a good power forward, and I really think he needs just a bit more time to develop into his game, because I really do see the potential is there in this young player. Moving on to the number 7 overall pick, I have chosen Jordan Harris. And this guy's 5'11", 179 pounds, and he is a little bit on the older side at 22 years old, but there is a reason for that. And that reason is because he's been playing in the NCAA on Northeastern University. He's actually the captain of the team, and this past season he got 20 points in 39 games played, 5 goals, 15 assists, and he did get a shot with the Montreal Canadiens, getting 10 games played, 1 goal in those 10 games. So it's all right, but I mean, this guy, he's taken a ton of time to develop, and I really think he's able to take the next step next year, and we'll see if he's able to crack the Canadiens roster or if he just stays in Laval. But either way, a good player with a ton of potential here, and that's why he's at the number 7 overall spot. Moving on to the 6th pick, I've chosen Sean Farrell, and although this guy is a bit on the small side, only 5'9", 174 pounds, he is an absolute dynamite, and he showed really well with USA at the World Championships, getting 6 points in 10 games played, 2 goals, 4 assists. He also played with Harvard University in the NCAA, where he got 10 goals, 18 assists for 28 points in 24 games played this past season. And the year before that, with the Chicago Steel in the USHL, he got 101 points in 53 games played, 29 goals, 72 assists, making for a really good resume here. And he's looking to play with Harvard again next year, where after that, I feel like he should be looking at a contract with the Montreal Canadiens. Honestly, this guy's been proven to play with men at that level in the World Championships, and he's dominated in the NCAA and the USHL. So it's going to be really interesting to see what this guy's able to do at perhaps the NHL or AHL level next year when he does end up getting a shot. So yeah, Sean Farrell at number 6. I think that's a really good spot for him. Starting off the top 5, we have Lane Hutson. And guys, I'm telling you, man, this guy right here is an absolute steal. I have no idea how he fell all the way down to 62nd overall in this year's draft. Despite his height at 5'8", despite his weight at 159 pounds, GM should not hesitate to take a player this small if he is this skilled. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because players have been proven to be able to play well at the NHL level despite being small. Look at DeBrincat, look at Connor Garland, look at Cole Caulfield, look at Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes. These guys are not big guys, but they are not at all out of place when they play at the NHL level. You know, a guy like Lane Hutson, he's a defenseman. This year on the U.S. National U18 team, he got 63 points in 60 games played, 10 goals and 53 assists. This guy is a really good playmaker. He can see his guys all over the ice. He's a fantastic skater with great second gear acceleration. As I said, he has great vision, and he's a great, reliable first pass out of the zone. Just a really reliable defenseman and someone that's going to be turning a lot of heads in the next couple years. This guy might be the steal of the 2022 NHL entry draft. Continuing on with the 4th overall pick, I've decided to go with Philippe Messar, and this is another really good player taken in this year's draft by the Canadiens. This guy taken 26th overall in the first round. He's a Slovakian winger, and one of the most notable things about this guy is that he can just fly out there, weaving through traffic with a good crossover-heavy stride. He's smooth on the ice, and he's really good at changing speeds to throw defensemen off balance and explode away from the contact. He's one of the best in-transition forwards in the draft, and if we look at his stats over here on HK Proprad this past season, he got 16 points in 37 games played, 8 goals and 8 assists, and if we combined all of his stats on the Slovakian U18 national team, he would have finished with 12 points in 7 games played, 5 goals and 7 assists, overall making for a pretty consistent stat line, making for a very reliable player on the offense, and someone who I think is the 4th best player on the Habs prospect pool. Coming in at number 3, I've decided to go with Joshua Waugh. This might seem like a bit of a surprise to some people considering that Joshua Waugh was a 5th round pick by the Canadiens in 2021. He got selected 150th overall. But man, this guy is 192 pounds, he's 6 foot, and the reason why I chose him at 3 is because he absolutely exploded this past season in the QMJHL, completely obliterating his past stats. He got 119 points in 66 games played this past season, with 51 goals and 68 assists on the Sherbrooke Phoenix. In the playoffs, he continued on and got 23 points in 11 games played for 8 goals and 15 assists. If you compare this to his year previous, he only got 18 points in 20 games played, 13 goals and 5 assists. So it looks like the Canadiens got another hidden gem here in Joshua Waugh. Honestly, just a really solid player, and he jumped up really high on this list, just completely out of the blue. And I really think this guy could make the transition at the NHL level if he keeps on this trajectory here. Moving on to the top 2, starting it off, we have Caden Guhle. And guys, this man right here is an absolute menace when he's on the ice. He's constantly moving his feet, and he closes in on attackers with such speed. He really isn't scared of anyone else on the ice. He's a big frame at 6'2", 201 pounds, left shot defenseman. And on the Edmonton Oil Kings this past season, he managed to put up 25 points in 25 games played, 5 goals, 20 assists. In the playoffs, he continued that on with 8 goals and 8 assists for 16 points in 19 games played. Overall, a really solid defenseman and a really solid pick by the Canadiens, 16th overall in the 2020 NHL draft. I really think this player has the potential to be a top 2, maybe even top defenseman on this team at some point in the future. Now, finally, at number 1 on this list, it really shouldn't be a surprise, but yes, I've decided to go with the Uri Slavkovsky, the Habs' first overall pick in this year's draft. And I've made a ton of videos on Uri, and there really isn't much else to be said other than the fact that this guy, he's 6'4", 229, and the stats really speak for themselves. I mean, the guy has won medals, won MVPs, and he's proven that he can play at the NHL level now. I'm really excited to see what this guy's able to do next year on the Habs, and I really do think that they made the right choice choosing him over top of Shane Wright and everyone else that was in the draft. But yeah, guys, with that being said, I think it finally ends off this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments if you agree with my list. If not, what would you change about it? And yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're new around here, like the video, and I'll be sure to catch you guys all in the next one. Peace and take care.